At a board meeting, my boss accused me of emotional manipulation to cover his $2 million theft scheme. I was replaced, discredited, then threatened. Only one of us needs to take the fall. I almost believed him, until our clients uncovered his secret warehouse of stolen treasures. The morning I'm accused of manipulating our elite clients, I'm sitting across from my boss, who now refuses to look me in the eye. She's emotionally exploiting the homeowners, Marla says to HR, undermining the integrity of our brand. No one asks for my side. No one questions why every single one of those clients had nothing but praise for me until recently. I don't argue. I just make one phone call. The next morning, the owner of our largest estate portfolio, Cecilia Ashcroft, walks into our director's office in Savannah, Georgia, with two strangers and a look that could cut through stone. She says 7 words that end my director's career. "I'm here to discuss contract termination." Let me take you back. My name's Carson Hale. I've worked for Caldera Estates for 11 years. I handle ultra-wealthy, legacy properties, preserving rare antiques, heirloom architecture, even things like imported greenhouse glass or bespoke handrail wood. These clients trust me with things they wouldn't trust their own family with. Then suddenly I'm being benched, pulled from the Ashcroft properties, told my style is too personal, too emotional. The woman who replaces me, Renee Caldwell, a polished, stiff former banker who somehow becomes director within months of arriving. I keep my head down, until the Ashcroft Estate's greenhouse mysteriously collapses during a storm, just weeks after a routine inspection I wasn't allowed to conduct. Then the fixtures at the Wilmington house are upgraded, but I recognize them as cheap knockoffs of the original 18th century brass. I try to flag the inconsistencies. Renee brushes me off, says I'm imagining things. So I do what I should have done months ago. I call Cecilia Ashcroft directly. The next day, I walk into the conference room. Renee is already seated, looking smug. Cecilia is there, with a lawyer and a man in black named Jonah who doesn't speak. I sit, knowing exactly what's coming. "Carson," Cecilia begins, "my private team audited all invoices for my properties this year." She slides a stack of papers across the table. My stomach turns. The invoices are for brand new climate systems, but the photos taken by Cecilia's caretakers show clearly they're old refurbished junk, rusted serial numbers, scratched panels, some even mismatched to the manufacturer. That's not all. Renee had furniture replaced for fire safety reasons, art restored, decorative glass swapped, but the originals, gone. Jonah, the man in black, speaks at last. "We traced your original pieces to auctions in Arizona, Florida, and one in Madrid, all sold using forged provenance documents. Across just my homes," Cecilia says, "the theft exceeds $2.3 million. And suddenly, the entire web unravels. Renee had installed her own vendors, maintenance crews, restoration experts, inventory systems, all shell companies, all routing profit to one offshore account tied to her real name, Veronica Kane. But the real bombshell: she needed me gone because my system, my obsessive, overly detailed cataloging, would have stopped her cold." Cecilia hands me a folder. It's filled with the old reports I used to file before Renee took over. My original condition photos, my real inventories. "Your records are the only reason we discovered this," Cecilia says. "And here's where I ask you, what would you do if someone tried to destroy your life just to rob others? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you're still with me, because this is only the beginning. It should have been over." Cecilia had exposed the theft, fired Renee, Veronica, and begun the process of reclaiming what had been stolen. But just when I thought I was safe, I got the text. "Consider your position carefully. Only one of us needs to take the fall here." It was from a blocked number, but I knew that tone. Veronica Kane was not done. "Several of the forged approvals used your credentials. Think the authorities will be able to tell the difference?" My stomach drops. I hadn't considered that. Every client file passed through my digital signature system, and Veronica had access to everything after I was demoted. The files could have been faked, but would that matter in court? Before I can even respond, my phone rings. "Carson, it's Cecilia. We have a problem." That afternoon, I meet Cecilia at a private office downtown. Not her estate, not even one of our company's properties. This place looks like a fortress, plain from the outside, but inside it's glass, concrete, and high-level security. Cameras on every corner. And waiting inside is someone I've only ever heard rumors about. Eva McCrae. Cecilia introduces her like she's just another consultant, but Eva's reputation precedes her. She's a cyberforensic analyst and ex-federal investigator who vanished from the public eye 6 years ago. Rumor was, someone powerful tried to frame her. Now she works quietly, only for the ultra-wealthy, and only when the stakes are life-ruining. Eva's already reviewing a digital timeline on a 10-foot screen. And there it is, a full-blown forgery operation. Veronica had been planting evidence for months, backdating documents, replicating my approval codes, even doctoring emails. Every piece designed to make it look like I was her inside man. She's been using this strategy for years, Eva says. Always someone detail-oriented, always someone the clients trust. Then, when she's almost caught, she frames them. And disappears. And you've seen this before, Eva turns, nodding. She did it in Chicago and again in Napa under a different alias. Why hasn't anyone stopped her? I ask. Eva's voice darkens. Because she always has help, lawyers. Fixers, disposables, she burns everything behind her. You're the first person who survived her setup. Cecilia crosses her arms. I want her stopped, not just caught, ruined. Eva looks at me. You in? I nod. She tried to burn down my life. Let's return the favor. And so begins phase 2. Over the next 3 weeks, I work with Eva and her team like a man possessed. They show me how Veronica used clone systems, ghost emails, even deepfake voice approvals to mimic client calls. All her shell companies, registered under former aliases and short-term proxies. We feed the authorities just enough evidence to freeze her accounts, without tipping her off. But the real trap, we build a new company site for one of our clients. A fake, high-value restoration project in Key West. We leak just enough to make sure Veronica sees it, and she takes the bait. One of her vendor companies bids for the job, offering rates too low to be real. It's her exact playbook. The moment she accepts the contract, we link the signature to her current alias, Lana Brooke. Boom, wire fraud, contract fraud, mail fraud, and now she's not just under investigation, she's facing federal charges. But Veronica's not stupid. She knows she's cornered, so she goes nuclear. She sends an anonymous packet to every member of the Caldera board, accusing me of financial misconduct. Fabricated client complaints. Photoshopped documents showing I signed off on illegal transactions. And for 72 hours, I'm drowning again. Suspended, investigated, threatened with arrest, until Eva drops the nuke. A full video reconstruction, side by side, of her forged approvals and the real audit logs showing they were inserted after I was locked out of the system. Suddenly the tide turns. Cecilia calls me. She's going down. We've got her. But this isn't the end. Veronica's still out there, and there's one more twist that changes everything. 3 days later, I get a call from an unknown number. The voice is older, British, calm. Carson Hale. I believe we need to talk. My name is Graham Kane. I'm Renee's husband. My breath catches. I didn't even know she was married. She's been arrested, he continues. But I'm not calling to defend her. I'm calling because she wasn't working alone. I meet Graham in a dimly lit coffee shop outside of Atlanta. He looks exhausted, like a man who's aged a decade overnight. She told me everything, he says, sliding a small flash drive across the table. You need to see this. On it, every encrypted file from her burner laptop, Veronica had kept records of all her jobs. And one client name stands out. Caldera Estates founder, Noel Strickland. My jaw tightens. Noel retired 6 years ago and supposedly left everything in the hands of the board. But according to the documents, he helped Veronica embed herself into the company, gave her access, gave her cover. He'd been bleeding funds from the estate management for years, and Veronica's schemes helped hide the losses. She was supposed to help him disappear cleanly, Graham tells me, but then you started noticing the inconsistencies. And he tried to throw me under the bus. Graham nods. He was preparing to frame you as the one who orchestrated it all. Then she turned on him. Now the stakes are even higher. Veronica is facing 30 years in prison. But if we don't act fast, Noel will vanish with what's left of the stolen funds, and maybe take me down with him. Eva's team activates what she calls the closure protocol. We file sealed affidavits with the DOJ. Leak a few key pieces of intel to the right journalists, enough to stir the sharks. And finally, we find him. Key Biscayne, Florida, living under a new name, preparing his escape to the Cayman Islands. We call the feds just minutes before he boards his private plane. That night, I get the call, "We've got him." But the final twist, Veronica flips on Noel, testifies, gives everything up. And in exchange, she gets a reduced sentence, 7 years federal time. Still, the fallout is massive. Caldera Estates collapses, clients sue, employees resign in waves, but Cecilia, she saw it coming. She quietly restructures everything under a new name, Hailstone Private Holdings. She asks me to take over operations, but I have one condition. We create a blacklist, I tell her, for anyone who's ever stolen from clients, anyone who's manipulated trust. I want all of them out of this industry. She agrees, and we do it. Every former victim Veronica scammed. We contact them, offer full audits, restore what we can. We create the country's first ethical property network, a sealed community of specialists, builders, restorers, and consultants who pass strict verification. No more aliases. No more ghosts. 6 months later, I visit the Ashcroft estate. Cecilia meets me in the garden. "I had these returned," she says, holding out a velvet box. Inside are the original dragonfly-etched brass handles Veronica stole and replaced with fakes. Cecilia runs her fingers over one of them. "My grandmother designed these for me," she says softly. Veronica thought she stole brass. What she really stole was memory. I nod. I understand now more than ever. Because what they tried to take from me wasn't just a career. It was the truth I'd built with every client, every report, every detail no one else noticed. And now, I don't just preserve homes, I protect legacies. And the next time someone like Veronica Kane tries to rob someone blind, they'll find me standing at the door, with every receipt, every record, and every name, waiting. If you've been betrayed by someone in power, or framed by someone you trusted, what did you do? Drop your story in the comments, I read them all. And if you're still here, don't forget to like and subscribe. Because some stories, they don't end with justice, they begin with it.